Today's Thursday, it's the 19th of January 2023 and we've come down to Paguera. It's a very blustery day and we've had some really windy and wet weather. It's still windy and it was still wet. It's been raining all the time we've been driving here, so we might have to dodge some spots later on.
And it's cold.
It's not too bad if you're out of the wind. And one of the first things that greets us here is a tree that's been blown down. It's just been snapped in two and is lying in the middle of the children's play area. But it just gives you an idea of how strong the winds are. Well, we're going to head down towards the beach. We were driving along the motorway just the other day, on Tuesday in fact, going to pick the girls up. And a tree was actually blown into the motorway luckily on the opposite side to us. Must have only recently happened. The police had managed to get there, but there were no workmen when we first saw it actually working on the tree to remove it. On our return, having picked the girls up, so probably about an hour later, the workmen had arrived and they started to clear it up. But it has been really, really windy and I'm imagining lots of damage all over the island. But we're down in Paguera, and one of the things the wind does is build up the waves, and so if it's in the right direction you get some quite spectacular waves here in Paguera. It's not quite in the right direction, but there are some waves you can see in front of us, and with the waves comes the surfers. And it has already spotted a couple of surfers already out there. The beach protection fences are out. And we've even got a bulldozer on the beach. And thankfully for us, the sun's come out. I'm going to put the camera up a little bit higher so you get a bit better view as we walk along the promenade here. We've just come from Palma Nova. We had a little brief stop over there in Palma Nova just for some breaking news for Palma Nova, particularly the Calablanca Hotel, which is not actually opening until the 1st of July, which seems very, very late. But the reason for that is they're having some deep renovations done. The hotel is going to change its character completely, and it's going to become part of the new Zell group, or the new Zell brand, which is in partnership with Rafa Nadal. So Melia, which owns the Calablanca Inside Hotel, has teamed up with the tennis star Rafa Nadal, and they're opening hotels, not just here in Mallorca but all over the world, and the one in Palma Nova is going to be the first. So that's really quite exciting news for Palma Nova. It'll give you a totally different hotel type. It's going to be aimed at Mediterranean living type, open spaces, fresh air, and gastronomy is what they're branding it as. So just a look out over the sea, there's just a couple of surfers waiting for those waves. The wind isn't actually in the right direction, or at least hasn't been for the last couple of days. It's more from the west, which means that these beaches here are actually a little bit sheltered. So I think if they'd gone to some other parts of the island on the west coast, there really aren't any beaches on the west coast, they might have some bigger waves there. I'm sure it's quite exciting to look at the waves bashing against the rocks, as we did a couple of years ago in Bani al-Bufar. I'm not anticipating seeing many people out today. It's a bit windy, it's a bit cold, and there's about a 30-40% chance that it's going to rain. I see some dark clouds over the mountains.
As long as we can find somewhere for coffee.
As long as we can find somewhere for a drink, Anita says, yeah, that's good. Yeah. But we're in January, and well, having said, I was going to say there's nowhere open, but there's a bar actually there open called Vivo Beach, and they are open. See the lights on. So yeah, there are places to go. This particular promenade does have a few steps in it. There are some ramps, but they're really quite steep ramps. I think if you had a wheelchair, they would be quite difficult. Even with a pushchair, they can be quite difficult. Start to feel the wind now blowing. Some flags in front. So the winds are actually coming from the land side, so they're not going to help those surfers at all. And there's a couple of ferries going out. I was watching one of those from Palma just the other day, and it was bobbling around, really one of the really big ferries, and I certainly wouldn't like to have been on that. Well, there's a surfer caught a wave, well done. Well, that'll have made his day. And they are actually quite big waves. These surfers, of course, have got wetsuits on there. They're obviously used to this sort of thing, and the cold waters that they're in. We had a report in the paper yesterday of a lady sadly went swimming in Bendinat, and she drowned. I can't imagine why she went swimming in such rough water, but she did, and sadly that took her life. So we're going to walk up just a little bit because we need to get around this headland. They never actually finished the promenade here, so you can't walk around the headland. There's about 100 metres or so where there's nowhere for you to go, so we have to walk up and round. Somewhere here there must be a webcam, because I was looking at the Paguera webcams, and it seems to look down here. And some of the shops are open, so that'll keep Anita happy. This particular one, she bought a pair of shorts, I think. Yeah, we have to walk up and over here. And one of the nice things is we're out of the breeze. Oh, spoke too soon. And this is the time of the year when the local council should be out doing all of its work, getting ready for the new season. So hopefully see some signs of that. To walk down now, and we join the next little bit of promenade. It's quite a big bit of promenade. It's quite steep, this is. In fact, so steep they've put a handrail on the right hand side as we go down. It's Still getting used to the fact that we are retired, so Anita said on the way here how strange it is to be coming out together on a Thursday morning. Well, coming out at all, because Thursday is Anita's day at school. So, yeah. Well, it was, yeah. Got to put all these things into the past tense now. And this bay's looking beautiful. This is a sight I really like to see. This is nice big waves. The sea looks really clean and just rolling along onto the beach. And we're amongst the only ones to actually be here to enjoy it. But I love to watch waves like that. If the temperature was a bit higher, that's the sort of sea as a child I would have loved to have gone swimming in and crashing into those waves. It's the sound as well, isn't it? The sound of the sea, the sound of the water smashing against the rocks and rolling on into the sand. If you just take a look while we're here at the other side, as I said, this is a time when work gets done, and the bar here is, well, it's not just the bar actually, it's all up above. You look up and see they're doing lots of work on the apartments here. So that's a good time to do it, and I'm sure they're all going to be finished before Easter. Easter, it's very early, it's beginning of April this year, darling. It's April the 6th and 7th is the Thursday and Friday before Easter. They're the public holidays when it all starts, so the Easter holidays will be quite early this year. We've been in contact with our daughters who live in the UK. We were with them just over a week ago, which seems like a lifetime now. But they're both reporting really cold weather in the south of England and even snow. So it's a matter of driving carefully and being safe, and then keeping warm. And the temperature this morning here, Anita went out into the garden, what did you say it was? 8 degrees? 8 degrees here. So people who think it's warm all the year round, it's not. And we do always get these sort of cold temperatures around now. 8 degrees is actually a little bit cold, and it's a little bit due to that Arctic blast that's coming from Northern Europe. And
last January was beautiful.
Yeah. Last year, Serena came around about now, and one of the places we came to was Paguera, and I remember Luna playing on the sand. Today's, it's a little bit exceptional, but you get exceptional weather, and a lot of people ask me, well, what's the weather like in January, or what's the weather like in February? Well, weather's weather, isn't it? It's very unpredictable, and what I say for this year isn't going to be the same as last year or next year. So you can only take sort of averages, but what it's actually like when you get there, it's a bit of the luck of the draw. So the last few days have been very windy, very wet, and for us very cold. And yes, cold enough for snow. So we have already had the first snow in Mallorca, not down here of course, not down near to the sea level, but anything above about 700 meters there's been snow. And we've got quite a few hills, mountains that have got tops of more than 700 meters. So they may well have white caps on them today. But not here, not near to the coast. So we're talking about in the south here, Galatso, which is about 1,000 meters, and then going up further up the Tramontana. That's on the west coast of Mallorca. It's the mountain range, the Sierra Tramontana. Leads up to Puigmayor, which is the highest mountain on the island, which I think is about 1,400 meters. So, you know, there could well be quite a bit of snow up there. On occasions when there is a lot of snow, you get carloads of people going up to the mountains in order to feel the snow. It becomes quite dangerous really, because drivers up here obviously are not used to driving in snow. The cars are not equipped with snow tyres or chains even. And sometimes we have roads that are closed because of the snow. And the other issue is, like we've seen at the beginning of the video, trees brought down with the wind. When it snows, if we get a lot of snow and it goes onto some of these trees, they're not particularly well rooted in the mountainous areas, and you get a lot of snow on them. That's a lot of weight, and if there's a little bit of wind with all of that snow, then the trees get blown down. So we get that more or less every year. There's a bit of snow, a bit of wind, and trees that come down. But looking more generally, over a typical year, 365 days, the average is 300 sunny days a year. But then I suppose today may be considered a sunny day. We've had some sunshine. Just take 2 steps backwards, and I'm just going to bring the camera down, and I'll show you a little beastie. This is one of the worst things on the island as far as animal lives are concerned, and it's such a tiny little thing, just over an inch long. It's about 3 centimeters. And they look quite cute. They move quite slowly, and they're very hairy. You probably can't see the hairs, but they come from these pine trees, and they are processionary caterpillars, and you don't usually see them on their own. You usually see lots of them, and they're called processionary because they go nose to tail. I can remember when we first came here, we went for a weekend in Majorca, and we saw a whole load of these processionary caterpillars walking around in a circle, nose to tail. They'd actually completed the circle and were just going round and round. It looked quite comical. And I don't think at that time we realised the seriousness of these creatures, which can be really dangerous to humans, and particularly to animals, to dogs. Dogs will be interested sniffing around them, and to humans they can cause severe rashes, and anyone who has any allergies, they cause severe pain and can even result to hospitalisation. As far as animals are concerned, particularly dogs, they can cause real big problems if they eat them, get in their mouths, close up their throats, and you do hear of people with dogs that die because of this. It is a really unpleasant, nasty little creature, and this time of year is when they come out. Usually, I think, more around February, so we're actually maybe a week or 2 early, but we've had some really, really mild weather right up and over Christmas when we first came back. It's very, very warm, and so I suppose that's encouraged them to come out. They come from a moth, and there is always a campaign to get rid of the moths, and that way you get rid of the caterpillars. But Anita's already said she's seen lots and lots of the nests, always in pine trees, not in the palm trees that we're seeing here, but just behind pine trees. And Mallorca has lots and lots of pine trees. Are we ready for coffee now, do you think? Right, we're looking for a suitable place for coffee with a toilet where we can watch the pretty views. And I must say, that's, I don't know, 4 or 5 bars we've seen on this little bit of the beach that are open, and that is actually great news. So it's one here, got lots of chairs and tables available waiting for us, and we'll just go and plonk ourselves down and have a coffee. How good is that? Hola, buenos dias. Well, we've managed to find somewhere to have coffee with the most amazing view looking out over the sea, over the waves, so really nice, and we're more or less out of the breeze. So we'll enjoy our coffee.
Even a little.
And what have we got there, darling? Little chocolates as well? Very nice. Cheers.
Cheers.
Well, we just had a nice coffee there at the bar, Relax. I think it's a bar we've been to a couple of times in the past and always had a really nice coffee. And what a fantastic view. So Anita's taking some photos, and then we'll just walk up into the village. It is just beautiful watching those waves roll in. We're going to go up into the village. I can already hear the jackhammers banging away up there. Put the camera up high again. The other thing about the view is the way the sun just glistens off the sea. And unfortunately you can't see with this camera, I don't think, but in the distance you can see the waves smashing against the rocks on the far side. We're looking way into Santa Ponsa, I guess. And the Malgrats. You can hear the jackhammers banging away. Where's Anita gone? Oh, she's just taking some photographs, so she'll be sending them to all of her friends. Last time, well, maybe it wasn't the last time, but on a previous occasion we were here, we actually saw some scientists down here with the van, and they were sampling the water because there'd been some effluent going into the sea which shouldn't have been there. It's all clear today, and the sea actually looks really clean, even though it is very rough. We're going to make our way inland, well, at least to the main road. Which could well be quite busy. It was really busy as we drove in. If you're travelling at the moment towards Andrach, the road gets cut off here at Paguera, so you can't continue with the motorway, which means a lot of traffic is having to come through the middle of the town, which I don't know. The road here has been cobbled, and makes it very noisy, and the cobblestones with all the heavy traffic start to move. So it's interesting to see how that works as we go along.
This is where we usually have a nice lunch.
Yeah, the restaurant here on our right is one of our favourites really in Paguera for a menu del dia. It's actually a steakhouse called La Pampa, and across the road we've actually got the Neptuno. Years and years ago I did the seat covers for them did some embroidery on their seat covers, hundreds of them they brought in, and we put Neptuno and the logo on, and I had my embroidery business. It's another lifetime ago. Let's carry on our walk, going through the village of Paguera. January 19th, 2023. As the cars go by, you can probably hear the noise. The tunnel going through to Paguera has been closed for months actually. They've been doing lots of work, and seems to be continued, so I'm not sure how much longer that's going to go on for. But obviously if you live the wrong side, it means you have to drive through Paguera and take big detours, and I can imagine at busy times of the day that causes quite an issue for people who are living in the Andratx area. It's somewhere we want to go to because we went to the market in Andratx a year or so ago and really enjoyed it, and we said at the time that it was one of the places, one of the markets we'd really like to go back to. And what have we seen there? Menu del Dia for $12.90. We're having a little bit of a rest from Menu del Dia's.
A bit of a rest from food, I think.
Having come back after Christmas, and obviously you have all the feasts over Christmas, you're probably eating and drinking too much, or more than normal anyway. But our first week back meant we had to catch up with all the people we hadn't seen, and we ended up going from Menu del Dia to the same restaurant 3 times. But they had 3 options, so I had 3 different meals at this same restaurant. But it was really nice, and it's only just down the road from us, so we could walk there and walk back, or should I say walk there and stagger back. So we're giving the Menu del Dia's a little bit of a rest. We're even giving the tapas a bit, no, I can't say that because we had tapas on Tuesday. Went to the football, and it was a Copa del Rey match. I've not said much about football in the videos. It's not very good news. Mallorca are on a losing streak at the moment. Played 3, lost 3. And so, yeah, it was a Copa del Rey King's Cup, and they were against one of the top La Liga sides, Real Sociedad, and Real Sociedad scored in the first 5 minutes, and it looked as though Mallorca were going to get slaughtered, and they didn't actually. They held it to 1-0 right through to the end, which says something for the defence, I suppose. And the match did change its character in the last 15 or 20 minutes when the manager made a few changes to the team, and Mallorca had a couple of chances at goal, but didn't manage to get it quite over that line, and so we lost. We're out of the King's Cup. But as I said at the time, it's really not that important. It's nice, it's a bit of icing on the cake if you win or you get a little bit further in the cup. But Real Mallorca's big job, main focus, has to be on staying in La Liga. And at the moment we are reasonably comfortable, but all of that can change in a few games. So we don't want to continue this losing streak. So the next match is on Friday night. It means that Mallorca will have had to play 3 matches in a week. It's really hard on any team, but particularly on a team like Mallorca, which doesn't have the strength of players to back them up. So we're hoping for better things. They're playing Celta Vigo on Friday night. It's a late one, 9 o'clock, and we're hoping that we'll come away with all 3 points, and they'll get lots of support from the local fans. And then they've got another match away, which is against Cadiz. Cadiz also down in the relegation area. Just stopping to have a chat to one of the parents on the school. We very happily tell everybody that we are jubilado. Jubilado is like jubilation, it's really happy, but it means we are retired. So there's a couple of terms we can use for that. It's like pensionista, which is not really quite so nice. But jubilado does sound nice, doesn't it? You're full of this happiness, jubilation. So we are happily jubilado. And that gives us the opportunity to come out more and do more videos. Just coming past the windy Villa Mill. This is the Hotel Villa Mill, right in the centre of Paguera, and this is the 5-star hotel.
Reminds me of Killing Eve.
What, the hotel?
She's called Villa Mill.
Is she? Alright, very good. Well, they've got the dust covers out in there, so they're not open. When the wind's out, it is very windy and it feels a little bit cold. Across the road we've got an ice cream shop that spelt its name wrong, I think. I wonder if anybody's actually told them that it's Arctic, not Arctic. Ah well. Maybe it is Arctic in some other language. Having to check my battery. 32% left. I use a GoPro. Some people do ask me about the cameras that I use, and the main camera that I use for walking is the GoPro, and that's because it's got built-in stabilization, so that as I'm walking you're not getting me bouncing around so much. I mean, you do get a bit of it, but not so much. And the GoPro that I'm actually using is a 360 camera, and that's so that I can actually post videos which are 360, and I've really neglected doing that because it takes a lot of time. I just really haven't had the time. So maybe now I can get back into doing my 360 videos, and that's another reason for putting the camera up high. Another restaurant. You can smell the logs burning, the wood fire. Smells really good. So one of the effects of using the 360 camera, which is actually 2 cameras in one, it's one at the front and one at the back, is that they do have this fisheye effect, which I know some people don't particularly like. And when I started doing this, I actually did 2 videos with 2 different cameras, and a friend says, well, why don't you just do it with a 360? So I did, and I ended up giving the other camera, which was another GoPro, to my daughter. But we'll have to see how things go. I might invest in another GoPro, just a normal GoPro. Wait, Anita says. Wait. But then I would end up going back to making 2 videos. I think I'm going to carry on doing the 360s and the normal videos, which can be fun. The other big issue that I have with the GoPro Max, the 360 camera that I do use, is that the sound isn't always good, and particularly when it's windy like today, the sound can be pretty awful. And I'm trying to get around that now by actually recording the sound separately, which is kind of difficult with the GoPro. You can't plug a microphone in. So I've actually got now a separate sound recorder. So quite enjoying it, doing the editing there and fitting sound to video. It's quite fun. And before Christmas we actually had a professional sound guy come round to the house. As Anita and I were asked to record.
Headhunted.
We were headhunted, yeah. We were asked to record some voiceovers for a film for the Malaga Film Festival, and so they came to our house, the director of the film and the sound guy, and so it was quite interesting to see how he worked and the sort of equipment that he had to do the recording. And during the recording I got some lines to say, and he plugged me into a microphone. I got that sort of on my lapel or somewhere, and he was recording me. And then he said, "Cut, stop." There was a fly on my shoulder, and he could hear the fly. I couldn't hear the fly. Well, that's not surprising because I'm deaf. But he could hear the fly, so it just shows how sensitive these microphones can be. And when we were chatting, we were talking about wind noise, and when you're recording outside and you're in studio conditions, wind is one of the really big problems of the sound recorders for video, and it's why you see these what they're referred to as dead cats all the time, these like furry balls over the microphones. They're called dead cats, yeah. And they sort of take out all of the noise from the wind. Well, they can never take it all out, but they take out a lot of it. So if you see me walking around with a dead cat around my neck, you'll know what it's all about. A real dead cat. Furry ball. So at the moment I'm just experimenting with my sound recorder, trying to get levels right, and then editing the sound and the video together, which is good. It's good fun. And there's an opportunity for another video to just show how I end up actually making all these YouTube videos on the computer side of things. We're almost back now to where we started, so just to my right is where the tree has come down. And luckily it's come down where it has, and hopefully there was no one near it when it came down. So things obviously are big and heavy and can cause a lot of damage. Well, happily my batteries managed to last out just to run our trip around Paguera. We've done quite a nice walk there, along the beach and then through the town, and a nice cup of coffee. But we're going to head home now, so thanks very much for watching, and we look forward to seeing you in our next video. Bye for now.
Bye.
Bye.